So with Liko recently capturing her third Pokemon being Terapagos, we cannot forget about our boy Roy. His last Pokemon capture was all the way back in episode 14. He is starving for some new team members, and I think it's about time that we got one. Although I also think Kilowattrel is getting heavily mistreated right now, and all of the secondary Pokemon for that matter. Like, have we even seen Tinkertuff do anything since evolving? But that's a complete different issue. I think Horizon's one major flaw, which there isn't many, but its handling of team balance has been pretty poor recently, so what better way to mix things up than to give us another Roy capture. So here's a few Pokemon I think he could potentially catch. So at the minute Roy has Crocodile and Kilowattrel, two really fun Pokemon. I think both of them fit his personality and the way that he battles really well. Crocodile has become a beast in battle, even managing to defeat Liko at the school tournament when it evolved. It has been quite hard to grasp how strong the starters are now because they keep battling together. It was really cool at first, but I'd like to see them cut back on that so we can see some more individual moments and give them a chance to shine more themselves. But Crocodile for sure is a strong Pokemon, putting in work against the likes of Kleavor and even Champion Geeta. Kilowattrel on the other hand, as I said before, it needs more work, it needs battle time, screen time, we just barely see it. It struggled against Liko in that same battle. We did see it while searching for Kleavor, where it teamed up with Crocodile against some wild Pokemon, which was actually really cool and just made me want to see more of that type of thing, especially since the dynamic of Wattrel and Fuecoco started off as this petty rivalry. So seeing how they can now work together and battle, that could have been developed and looked at a bit more. But adding in a third Pokemon would be a challenge to balance them all out, but I feel it's definitely something that these writers can pull off if they just work it out a little bit. I think 3 Pokemon is by no means a lot to get right, so let's get into a few of the options. So first up is a recent one being Sandy Shocks. It recently battled Roy and they seem to share this bond over battle. They both had an exciting clash and you could tell that Sandy Shocks was intrigued by Roy, even singing Roy's song as it was walking away. And Horizons aren't shy of giving Paradox Pokemon to people after recently giving Sango her Screamtail, so this one I can see fitting Roy nicely. Roy currently does have 2 Paldea Pokemon, so I think he's going to pick up some Pokemon from different regions at some point. And I've gone for a pretty random pick here with a Munchlax. I feel having a Munchlax around aboard the Brave Asagi would just be pure chaos. Eating all the food, causing trouble for all the Pokemon on the ship, and it just fits Roy's energetic, carefree personality. I always enjoyed seeing May's Munchlax on screen, and Roy's could have similar energy to that, but Roy could focus on training it for battle, and when it's ready it could evolve into a powerhouse Snorlax, following in the footsteps of Ash's own Snorlax. I just think it would be a lot of fun to add this one to the cast. One from Galar that I don't know if it will fit Roy perfectly, but it would be a nice contrast to Liko's Hatterene, and that is Impidimp. I feel this line wasn't fully shown off as much as it could be in Journeys, especially Marnie and her Grimmsnarl, so I could definitely see Roy catching a mischievous little Impidimp and have to learn to control it, get it to behave on the ship and stop causing everyone shenanigans. And again, it could eventually evolve all the way up to a powerful Grimmsnarl. And another Galar Pokemon that I'd like to see in the main cast is a Snom, a complete different kind of Pokemon for Roy to have, but it would be something new. It was so popular and I feel like we barely saw it in the anime. I feel like it and Roy could have some really wholesome moments. And onto a Paldean regional variant. I think an Aqua Breed Tauros would be cool for Roy. It would show off the different types of Tauros that are seen in Paldea. We could get a whole episode about them, and I can just see it being a fun capture where Roy has to stop this thing from rampaging and they end up bonding and he captures it. It's quite hard to predict what exactly will happen going forward for Roy. I think it's a given that Crocodile will evolve eventually, and there's also been hints to him possibly capturing Rayquaza. Right this minute it's hard to see that happening. Rayquaza is probably the strongest Pokemon we've seen in Horizons, possibly even the entire anime. This thing is a beast. It's avoided multiple plots to capture it and battle it. It always comes out on top and gets away. Lucius managed to tame it, but would Roy really be able to? I'm not too sure. Maybe it could be like the very last thing that Roy does at the end of the series, managing to finally get strong enough to catch it. But I think he's got a long way to go. But hey, I would have said that they weren't strong enough to beat a champion a few weeks ago, but they proved me wrong on that. But that's going to be it for this one. Which Pokemon would you like to see Roy get? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But honestly, from the ones mentioned, I really want him to go back for that Sandy Shocks. and I'd really love to see him get a Munchlax. But let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.